talk to new people that are thinking about starting a franchise as a franchisor. What kind of mindset should they have in terms of marketing to help their franchisees with this type of stuff?
We're talking about Zors, right?
Franchisors.
Okay, got it.
Because the franchisees, they're stuck right now. Whether they have something really good or really bad, they're stuck. Yeah. But there are people out there, because I help people, Bedros Cooling and I, we have a group where we help young franchisors or people that want to buy a franchise. We help them start and scale their franchise. So talk to that person that's just getting started in franchising as a franchisor.
You have to know acquisition. That's my
what if they don't even know what acquisition means? Because acquisition's so common to you and I, but to the average person out there, what do you mean acquisition?
Lead gen, show gen, appointment gen, everything that gets from click to show, or whatever your vehicle is for conversion, for your sale, whether it's a phone sale or an in-person sale. You have to know the numbers inside and out for your model. You should have already squeezed all of the juice out of your model before trying to put it together. I can't tell you the amount of gyms specifically where I know somebody who's got a struggling gym and says, I think I want to franchise. I'm like, you can barely run one location profitably. And do you want to franchise and sell this bag? Really? They also have to understand that the business model has to be unique in some way. Otherwise, you're just going to get why would they buy yours? Right? It has to be unique in a certain way in order for people to buy into it. And also for the general population to want to have for you to make a disproportionate amount of money compared to other franchises in the same space.
Mm-hmm.
I think the fitness franchise world is very saturated. And I think there's going to be a nice consolidation that's happening right now.
There absolutely is. And there's always opportunity within all of this, but yeah, 100%.
And understanding that what your level of execution is, cut that into maybe 35% of what you're doing. And that's what the level of execution you get from a franchisee. And the moment you start pointing blame and saying you're not doing enough is the moment you lose the power in your business.
Yep.
Because the moment you start blaming franchisees is the moment that you stop innovating to try and solve their problems.
Yep.
And so it's just not good enough to say they just didn't do it. There's nothing you can do about
to say.
Right. There's nothing you can do about that. So what can we control? What condition did I create that tolerated this level of performance? How can I make the training better? How can I make the onboarding and screening better? How can I make the qualifications higher? How can I, whatever it is we have to ask better questions, because ultimately at the end of the day, especially with a franchise, it's all about unit production, right? Mm-hmm. They have to make money. Now, if you it's easy to sell your first 10 friends that that's seen your quote business success, your first 10 locations.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone can do it. That's why there's a zillion 10 to 20 location franchises out. Right. Want to have it, and they can never make it past that because their actual business model sucks.
Yep.
And that's what it is. And so you have to make sure that the actual, this is just fundamentals baseball. This is blocking and tackling. Is the training for every position dialed in? Is it do you have a culture that you Chick-fil-A has done it? Well, they don't even really have a franchise.
But we'll use that as an example because they're a kind of a franchise. But yeah, the culture, holy cow.
Right. And they know exactly who their avatar is. So it's unless you have a unique avatar, right, or unique way of reaching it, or unique monetization model,
mm-hmm.
or unique acquisition model. Now, the hard part with acquisition is it's easy to copy. It's very easy to copy, which means I think that you need to be on top of it, because I had a conversation with a franchisor last week. I went 22 locations, kind of a smaller franchisor. And I was like, well, give me your numbers on this, and that. He's like, I honestly don't know any of them. And I was like, how do you have a business? But the big thing is, if you don't know if you're starting a franchise and you don't know your lifetime value, cost of acquisition, your monthly churn, your different levels of your value ladders, your different upsells, the way that there's so many things that if you don't even your page conversion metric, if you don't know these things, if you don't have another way. And on the flip side of that, there are some acquisition only franchisors that just learned how to run Facebook ads.
Yep.
And then they're like, cool, I just run Facebook ads to a gym. I own a franchise. Again, and they usually are not good operators. They don't know how to build culture. They don't know how to lead teams. They don't know how to have unique backends. They typically don't make enough per customer, right?
This is all knowing your numbers. Yeah. This is all knowing what you should
really be. That was my point. Yeah, you got to know with backends. Yeah.
Because you don't, in franchising, again, we're speaking to when we're going to get back to franchisees, but franchisees, you can dial this in yourself if your franchisor doesn't. But if you're starting if you're a mom and pop wanting to franchise your business, you don't have to have something that is proprietary. You don't have to have something that is super unique. What you need to have is a good model itself that you're working on right now that makes money, that does well. And then you need to understand that you are not just scaling what you have now, but now you're in the business of helping other people franchise get into franchising. And you're now their coach, you're their cheerleader, and you're the one that should have all the answers. So if you don't know it for your own business right now, spend a year, get that dialed in, know in the ins and outs of your business so that you can help somebody else do the same thing. Did you ever get concerned? I mean, I know you're not a scarcity mindset type guy, but you're teaching people the playbook. How do you reconcile teaching people what to do, kind of giving them the secret sauce and having people rip you off? Because that's what happens.
Yeah. If you're learning from me, you're inherently admitting that you're not better. Or at least if you're copying my shit, you know what I mean? Like you're inherently better. And so the other thing is the best move to make would be to copy our stuff, right? And once you're the industry leader, my strategic best move is to buy everyone's courses who's new, rip out anything that's good, immediately distribute it, and then make you irrelevant. The guys who can't stay on top don't do that.
Yep.
And then they become irrelevant over time. And it's usually because of ego. It's like, oh, our stuff's better. I'm like, I don't care where it comes from. Like if some guy's got a good messenger course, cool, go find it. Information is information, right? So I'm also not immune to the fact that like, I know what industry we're in. Mm-hmm. Information is very high margin, but has massively declining value. It has an expiration date on it. Mm-hmm. And so the information always has to be fresh, always has to be cutting edge in order to have the value that you're charging for it. And so we pride ourselves on, we release new plays every 14 days in our community. Most guys have like quarterly things that they'll maybe do, and most times it's recycled content. That's how we've been able to continue to provide value. I built our highest level, taking out everything I hated about masterminds for myself.
Thanks for listening to the Franchise Secrets podcast. Links to everything can be found over at franchisesecrets.com. And if you want my help with anything from starting your own franchise to growing your current franchise business, please visit scalablefranchise.com.